All right, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am very excited about this particular segment. I've long been a champion of En Foco and the work that they do with photographers in our beautiful borough of the Bronx. And so we've got two people who are involved in one of a few exhibits that are coming to a borough near you. And so let's say good evening to the exhibitions and program manager of En Foco. It is Oscar Rivera. Nice to have you with us, Oscar.
Hi, nice to be.
Nice to see you. And a photographer extraordinaire, and it is Adeline Lulo. Nice to have you with us, Adeline.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be here.
Uh,
Thank you so much.
Oscar, let's. You're the curator of Reflejos. Let's talk about Reflejos. What was the theme, and what did you put together?
Yeah, so Reflejos is sort of a double-edged sword. So it is an opportunity for us to reflect on some of the past winners of our fellowship program, as Adeline and Erica both won a couple years ago.
All right, we should mention that Adeline Lulo and Erica Morillo are the two photographers involved.
Gotcha.
Okay. I just want to give credit where credit is due. Go ahead.
So let's run that back. I don't know where I started.
Just keep going. You're good.
So Adeline Lulo and Erica Morillo were both winners of the photography fellowship. And we figured that as we're introducing our 2022 cohort after a couple of not so fun years, it would be great to re-engage with some of our past artists. But we also noticed a rising trend in the demographics of the Bronx, and decided that this would be a really beautiful opportunity to engage more with our Dominican community. And this show touches on a few different aspects of what diasporic life in the Dominican Republic can be like. And the show is focused on the narratives presented by female photographers working within their communities, their families, and how they're engaging with those themes in two very different ways.
What are those two ways? You know, I'm not letting you off the hook.
Oh, of course not. Adeline, who's here, felt that it was her duty to document her community, work with her people, really capture the resilience of her community, whereas Erica is more of a reflective approach. She's examining her lineage, her family's direct cultural history, and using that to inform how she is setting up life for her children and her life beyond.
So, last question for you, and then we're going to let Adeline talk about her craft and her work. Was it a case of you saying, "Hey, we ought to do this," or was it a case of them saying, "Hey, we've got all these photos, maybe you could put a show around it"? You know, which came first, the chicken or the egg? I guess is what I'm asking, or a combination, I guess.
So a combination. These series were exhibited both when Adeline and Erica had won originally, I think in 2016 and 2017. And since then, the world has changed. Things are a little different now.
Of course.
So we figured that we would revisit them, introduce these works to new communities, and give them another shot in the spotlight to really celebrate their works and their communities.
Adeline, when you have this charge and you're supposed to do this, you take your camera out. How do you just go at random and say, let's see what I find? Or do you plan? And by the way, we're going to show some of these wonderful photographs. Or do you plan what you're going to do?
Well, my photography project, Si Dios Quiere, that is being featured in the exhibition this Saturday. I started that in 2013 in the Dominican Republic, and it was a way for me to reconnect with my motherland and my family and my friends in the Dominican Republic. So from a very young age, I was obsessed with photography. Like, I loved the camera. I loved having images in my hands. Like, I grew up with my mom documenting my childhood both in New York and in the Dominican Republic.
So you really, just to move it ahead, you really had some of these concepts already and had done them. Did you add, we're going to show these in a moment, did you add other work based on what you had, or is this really, a retrospective of things you had already done?
This is a retrospective. So the Si Dios Quiere, it spanned from 2013 to 2017. I would go for a month and document. So the way that it started was just me. I bought a flight and I was like, I'm going back to the Dominican Republic. I was absent for 13 years because um, once I was eligible to work in New York, I stopped visiting because I wanted to be
Right,
able to
right.
provide for
So
myself. So
what
I
I wanted,
huh?
I want before I don't want to run out of time because I want to show some of these photos. We're going to run through them too quickly, and the beauty of it is it's going to be too quick. So therefore, beginning June 11th, all the way through July 13th, you're going to be able to go and see them and spend time and really look at the photos. So Anderson Peguero, our producer, what do you got? Show us something really cool. All right, who wants to talk about this? I guess Adeline, that's for you, right?
So this photo was taken on my grandfather's land, his plantation field, and it's really it reminds me of him. He passed away, and he, he used to say like every day he wanted to work on the field, like that was his dream. That was exactly how he spent his last day.
So even though it's an incredible photo, it has very personal meaning for you.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get another picture. I want to show as many of these as we can. This is I love. Our producer loved the last one. I love this one. But go ahead. What is this?
This is a family friend's home in Moca, in the Campo, in the Dominican Republic. And every Jesus image that's there, that's actually someone that passed away in her life.
Oh,
She, it's a very interesting image because if you look very closely, you also see spoons hanging on the wall. And that's how she's holding the netting for the bed to prevent mosquitoes from biting her.
all right. Keep it going. Let's see. Keep it going.
Oh,
I
this
actually love this one too.
images.
I love all these. Go ahead. So who is this? What is this?
This image was while we were at the beach one day. We were in Samaná, and I always took my camera everywhere. So when we were leaving, I saw this little boy, and he had these beautiful flowers in his hands, and he was trying to give them out to get some tips, like to make a living in DR. And so when I saw him, I just was so in awe by how beautiful he was, and I wanted to do something good for him as well. So as Dominicans, every time we go to the beach, we always have spaghetti like in a
Oh,
pot.
really? That I did not know. Okay.
So when we left, we had leftover food, and I told my mom, I was like, I asked her, do we have any food that we can give him? So we ended up feeding him and a few of
Wow.
his friends, and it was just a special moment and interaction.
All right, keep going. I believe me, I could ask you a lot more about it, but I want to see these. I want everybody to see the pictures. I love the red. Go ahead, Anderson, throw up another. I love the red. Oh, this is
So
speaking of the beach.
these are by Erica Morillo.
Oh, okay.
And these images are how she rationalizes her upbringing and the ideal world that she wants to create for her son, who's now a little bit older. These were first exhibited, I think, in 2017. And now looking back, they've changed a little bit because her son is older. Her dynamic as a mother is different. And they've informed some of her other work where she uses some of the similar approaches and explores her relationship to other members of her family.
Wow. Oscar, let's talk a little bit about En Foco in general. Is this, I know that this is the sort of thing that happens all the time. This is why En Foco exists. But talk a little bit about the modern day. You were talking about the fact that, we've had 2 years of people not really doing what they used to do. I have a feeling that a lot of photographers were still taking pictures. So it gives you a wealth of material to use. Talk to me just in general about what your work is about.
Well, so just a little context. En Foco started in 1974 by a group of Puerto Rican photographers who were really responding to a lack of opportunity and resources for other Puerto Rican photographers, and then since then has grown to encompass artists of all colors. And so, believe it or not, these last 2 years have been some of the busiest for En Foco. We did not stop any of our programs. We transitioned.
You don't mind if I applaud for that because that well
Thank you.
also Bronx artists, man. We I say we because I'm an artist in my own way. We just got to keep going, and during that time when everybody was going wild in their own homes, got to take them pictures.
Yeah, so we did a few different things. Since then, we had a pandemic response forum where we invited artists in the community to talk a little bit about what their experience in the pandemic was. They were featured in our magazine Nova Luz. We've had a recent traveling exhibition that featured some of the fellowship artists, including Erica Morillo, that traveled through the SUNY system and visited SUNY Stony Brook, Fredonia, Binghamton, and New Paltz, that came down at the end of 2021. So we've been doing a lot of things in the
Right.
last couple of years.
Well, it's just fantastic. Adeline, when's the first time you took a camera in your hand and you said, "You know what? I think I want to do this more often." Like I like this.
I think I was probably like 7 years old, and I
Really?
convinced my mom to buy me a Polaroid camera. I still have it to this day. It's a Barbie Polaroid camera, and yeah, ever since then, I was always obsessed with cameras since I was a kid, and I always knew I was gonna be an artist, and I always wanted to be one. But you know, just being the daughter of immigrant parents, that wasn't like something that was highly motivated. Like
Right.
you can do arts, but like do it as a hobby, not as a career.
What you have just expressed is what En Foco is about. And that is to take the incredible work of Bronx artists, Bronx photographers, and give them a chance. And so I'm going to ask you a stupid question: how important is En Foco for you and for other photographers? Stupid question of the day.
I En Foco is an amazing, wonderful resource. Like I'm so happy I discovered them. I right after I graduated Parsons, I applied for their fellowship, and I had my first group exhibition aside from my thesis exhibition with school. So because of En Foco, I got to exhibit my work in NYU and meet other artists.
And here we are today. Listen, we got. I want to just promote everything. So let's see. The Reflejos is June 11th to July 13th. By appointment only. You send an email to info@enfoco.org. And it is at 413 East 140th Street in Mott Haven at the Romanesque Revival Row House Gallery. I also want to talk about my dear friend Marisol Diaz Gordon, who has Night Vision. Also debuts June 11th. The opening reception is June 11th from 3 to 6 at Woolworks, New York, on the fire escapes at the Bronx Create Hub, which is another invention here in the Bronx, and we've got to have it, and that's why we have it at 15 Canal Place, which is a very funky neighborhood in our borough. And then also the reveal, the 2022 En Foco Fellowship exhibition also begins June 11th. Opening reception at the same time, Saturday, June 11th at 3 o'clock at that same place, 15 Canal Place in Mott Haven. I got to do this. Javier Alvarez, Daniel Aros Aguilar, Dennis Red Moon Darkeem, Carlos Esquera, Paola Martinez Fitere, Diana Guerra, Carmen Zardo, Jahiz Sabater, Cynthia Santos Briones, and Niasia Sylvester. Just wanted to give them a shout out. We got to run. Oscar Rivera and Adeline, thank you so much. We'll see you around. That's all for the Bronx Buzz. Good night.